Hey, Jenny, thanks for coming on, talking to me. I really appreciate your time. I know time is valuable for everyone, but I want to talk to you and pick your brain about your thoughts on the Young Living opportunity. What's your thoughts? Yes, no, give me all the details.
Um, I would say a big, huge, ginormous yes. I love the business. I love the opportunity. And it's one of those things where, like, 10 years ago, would I have guessed that I'd be here? Definitely not. But so glad that I am here. You know what I mean?
Me too. Me too. One thing I like the most about the opportunity is I have built so much community around it within Young Living and then
Yeah,
outside. I met people I never would have met otherwise because I had this message and I wanted to talk to people
right.
and you get out of your comfort zone and you get, some people do classes, some don't, but either way, like you're forced to like go out into the world and meet new people. And because of that, I've made so many amazing friends out of it. And I am just blessed even with that.
Yeah.
I love that. The other thing I really enjoy, and I don't know if this is you, but I think that it's super important to always have multiple streams of income. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree, disagree?
Yes, I absolutely agree. And actually, that's one thing that I have been working on since since I started having kids. My oldest is 10, and I've always had kind of this entrepreneurial spirit, I think, about me because um back I actually went to college and got my degree in music education, so I'm a teacher. um and I never really, like, I had this like inner dialogue with myself back when I was in college, because I was like, well, I have, music's kind of always been my thing. And so it makes sense that I would become a teacher of music. But then I always had this, like, I want to be in business for myself too. And so and I love photography. I've always done photography. And so I actually went and got my degree in music education, but then I also went to college and um, went to it was like a 1 year program for photography. So I was able to start my own business. And while I was teaching, I did photography. So I've always had more than one thing going on, um, income wise. Now I stay home and I homeschool my kids. So I'm not doing the teaching thing anymore. But obviously, I have Young Living. I can still do my photography. I don't do that as much anymore just because of time. But I've done so many different things over the years before landing on Young Living, because I knew deep down it's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to have something that I could do from home in order to be with my kids more, but also something that I could, because like I said, I've just always wanted to be my own boss and run my own business, but I just wanted to be able to do that from home. And it's been an interesting journey to kind of figure that out. But I think people so many times, and still even in our country, people focus on go to college, get that one job, work that job for 40 years and then retire, and then live on your retirement, when what we should be thinking is, how can we maximize our, number one, our efforts, which is why network marketing is so awesome, but but also incorporate other income streams with it. It can be little things, it could be big things, but I think that that's super smart to do.
I do too, and I like what you hit on where the general consensus is you go to school, you get a job, and you work it.
Yeah.
What we forget, or what people forget to tell us, is there's ebbs and flows in the economy.
Yes.
And when we are recording this in the height of the corona epidemic. Okay.
Mhm.
That means businesses and the economy had shut down. That means people went to bed one day with a job, they woke up the next day, they did not have a job.
Yes.
It's just ebb and flow of the reality of the world.
Mhm.
So to have something else coming in, at least if you go to bed and lose one of your income sources, you're not
Yeah.
totally like freaking out because now you went from some money to no money. At least
Yep.
you still have some money coming in.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where I go with this thing. Like, uh, I definitely want to be having some income coming in, at least
Yep.
somewhere, right? And like
Exactly.
you said, I like to develop courses, and just like you, Jenny, I've always felt like this entrepreneurial spirit. I went to school too. I went for broadcast journalism. I did
Okay.
that. And I went, and then I had kids, and because of my history with not having children or having a hard time having children, I couldn't imagine leaving them. I couldn't,
Yeah.
even though I loved my broadcast job, I just could not. And so it gives me that opportunity now that I don't have necessarily the 9 to 5.
Right.
Now I'm that mom and I'm doing that mom thing that I really wanted to do, but then it gives me this chance to do this entrepreneurial thing that I love doing as well.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. And I actually have a friend who just recently, her husband lost his job. She also, so she's one of my homeschool mom friends. And so she doesn't work. She stays home with her kids, and he has this one job. And I don't know if they have other income streams, but I knew that when she shared this with us, that he unexpectedly lost his job, that they had to pivot fast and they had to figure out, what are we going to do now? So I figured, you can kind of make, I guess, guesses as to, whether they had multiple income streams or not. But I just know for me, and like I said, my husband, well, actually my husband works a 9 to 5 job. He's a chiropractor, and he is an amazing chiropractor, by the way, and so blessed to have him. But that's where he focuses all his attention. And so I've kind of made that like my own project of, how can we get as many streams going as we possibly can. And like I said before, the beauty of network marketing is that you do a lot of the work up front, and then it can kind of run on autopilot to some degree. You still have to manage and all of that stuff, and you continue to grow it, but there's a lot of work you do at the beginning, and then it becomes a lot of passive income. And so I think the more income streams that you can bring in that are like that, where you do a lot of the upfront work and it's passive income, and there's lots of different things you can do. Not a lot of people, people who are 9 to 5 minded have a harder time figuring that out, I think, because they don't know where to look, or they don't know what to look for, but once we realize, there's options out there, then we can kind of like look into more of those and stuff. And it's kind of exciting to be like, well, what else can you start to dream again, and you get excited because you're like, well, I could do anything, so pretty exciting stuff.
And don't you think when you grow this big enough, don't you think it'd be nice to allow your husband, if he so chooses, to cut back on his hours?
Absolutely.
I know that's a big draw for me. I'm not saying that just because I grow my business and I make X number of dollars, and you can find that information. I'll try to put it up in the links in the description, the Young Living Income Disclosure. I just want to have options for him. He loves his career, and I loved mine, but I loved being a mom more.
Yeah.
But I'd love that opportunity where he has the ability to still have the income, but maybe not as many hours as he once did. I'd like you're a homeschool mom, and you can do this job anywhere. So like if you guys wanted to have an extended vacation, you could still do your homeschool on your vacation.
Right.
And you can still be doing this job on vacation. Like, you know
That's
what I
right.
mean? Like if you go somewhere else for a while, maybe have a second home somewhere. I don't know. Just the possibilities are endless. And I'm the type of person that wants options and choices and possibilities. That's how I am.
Yep. Same here.
So what are the other benefits that you see to running a business? Do you see, because you guys are a small business owner, like, are there tax incentives that you get as a business owner?
Well, do you mean as like for a chiropractic business, or do you
Just
mean
in
for
general, like, do you see that there's that it's wise because you could maybe somehow save some income by having like different tax options?
I see what you're saying. Okay. So the thing that's nice about our situation of having a brick and mortar business, and at the same time as having a Young Living business, is now you can't like double dip on things in
Right.
terms of taxes. So like, I've either had a photography business or a Young Living business at home. And so I've always been able to add a section of my home in as like home office basically. And so, but I couldn't do that for like the chiropractic business and my Young Living business for obvious reasons. But like our cell phones, like I use my cell phone all the time in business because I can be home like 99% of the time. Well, really 100% of the time if I wanted to, you know. And so that's great. So it's like I'm using my computer and an area of my home that's designated office space, and my phone, and just all of these different things and certain supplies, my printer, just whatever other things I would normally just have at my home anyway, they can be dedicated office space, which is awesome in terms of taxes. Um, and I would say, like, and to be honest, I am still learning a lot of how to do the Young Living business, um, like all of the numbers and the taxes side of things, because that's the less fun part about
Yeah.
business. I mean, I love math and I love numbers and stuff because I'm kind of a nerd that way, but yet that's still the not as fun part.
Mhm.
And so I'm still learning about all the advantages and stuff, but I have found that, well, I should say that back when I decided to even get started, my whole goal was I wanted to be able to do it from home. Now we can go out and we can do classes if we want, although that's a little hard when you're on lockdown and quarantine. But if I wanted to, like, I could now, with things opening back up a little bit, I could go out and do that if I wanted to. But my goal was to work from home, to be home with my kids. Like you said, I dreamed of, well, we could take like a 3-month vacation and tour the country and do
Yes.
school on the road, and kids could see history in person by going,
Yes.
to these different places, and I can do business from an RV or my car or whatever. And so that was the lifestyle. And you even touched on this, like, financial freedom, time freedom were the hugest things on my list, because when you are stuck, you or your spouse are stuck to a 9 to 5, whether they love it or not. My husband loves being a chiropractor and he's amazing at it. But whether you love it or not, you still want to have time and financial freedom no matter what. And so I don't know what the future will necessarily look like, but like you said, we want to at least have options. So the more we can do now, that can provide options later on. So I don't know if I fully answered your
No, you
question or
totally
not,
did. No, you totally
but
did. For
yeah.
me, I like preschool. I don't have the calling of homeschool, and I think that's so awesome when you do. Not my calling, but that's awesome. Because I support homeschooling 100%. I think it's great. I was homeschooled for a time, and then we all were kind of forced to homeschool whether we wanted
Yeah.
to or not. And I'm like, can
Yeah.
school open up now? Our preschool teacher is great, but because of this Young Living business, we can take this HSA out of it's pre-tax money out of our paycheck and use it for
Yes.
dependent care. And if
Yes.
I didn't have this job, then I couldn't take pre-tax money to apply for the preschool, because they consider it childcare up in
Okay.
preschool, and then it changes at kindergarten. I don't know if that's a national thing or is that Arizona thing. I'm not sure, but
Hmm.
here, once kindergarten is different in school. So that's a benefit for me, and I think
Cool.
that's great. And then it gives me that dedicated time where I don't feel like I'm neglecting my kid. He's learning, I'm getting to work, and it feels awesome. Because the biggest draw to me to do this business is I feel like it's a win for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm introducing someone to a healthier life and they decide to get one of the kids and they want to start letting me teach them, it's an honor that they even open that up. It's a win for their health. And then if I find someone else that says yes, they want a healthier lifestyle, I have to put them somewhere.
Right.
So I might as well put them under my friend who I just signed up. So now my friend, even if she wasn't thinking of doing the business, now she could get her products at least for free.
Right.
Because now that person said yes, and then I put them under my friend. So my friend's getting a paycheck, I'm getting a paycheck. So far, this thing has been a yes, 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 win, win, win. And I love that.
Right.
And like you said, one of the biggest reasons was time. That's the only thing in this world you can never get back. You
Right.
can always earn more money, but you can never get your time back. And so that was a huge draw for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is as you as a mom can see, your kids are already 10. I mean, I bet you it didn't feel like 10 years have gone by, or how did it go by that fast? For me, I feel
Exactly.
like that with my daughter. How did my 7-year-old get to be 7? I just don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like once you have children, then the years just zoom by fast. In the middle of the whole raising thing, raising kids, the days get super long sometimes.
Yep.
You're just like, am I gonna make it through this? Am I
Yeah.
gonna get through this? But then you look up and you're like, wow, a whole year just passed me by.
I
And
know.
that's why I want to do the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I absolutely agree. Like when you're talking about, you know, you just sign somebody up and then you place someone under them. I love that that's how our compensation plan is structured, because even if a person doesn't want to do the business, you're creating a community out of the people who you're stacking them under. So like for me, a person that's right below me is my mom. Obviously, I'm very close with my mom. And so anybody that I place under her is a part of her community. And so, you know, a lot of times we'll place people there that already know my mom, you know, but then I have some people that I know would benefit from her wisdom and her perspective. And so we create this community for just her, and she's able to, even if she's not building a business like I am, which she actually wants Young Living to be her retirement plan. So that's awesome. But and she's very close to retirement, so she's super excited about that. But she's actually in education. She works for an area, total sidebar here, but she works for an AEA. So she's like teaching the teachers, you know, she
Oh,
does
okay.
also like in-service development, things like that. So, but she's very close to retirement. And so for her, and she loves the products, and she loves, her big thing is Ningxia. So she always talks to people about Ningxia. And that's her opportunity to have this community where she can educate them and they get something out of it. And so I have just found the whole idea of the opportunity with Young Living. It's awesome to earn an income, but especially as a homeschool mom, this is just my perspective, is we don't have a huge group of people that are necessarily like-minded with us. Like I might have my homeschooling mom group, might have my church mom group, I might have my just friends that I've known forever group, or my family, and then my oil mom group, you know. But like the thing that I love about Young Living is that we're all a community, no matter what background we come from. So it's like, and that's the happy discovery. The business is awesome, the paycheck's great, but this community is like, it's so special. And I just, and like meeting you, Amber, and it's like, I have no idea whose downline you're in, but like we can be BFFs and connect over Young Living and the business, because that's just how the whole thing is structured. And I think that's
And
awesome.
it's not, at least I don't feel like this, and I'm getting the sense you don't feel like it. It's a competition. I don't feel like it's a competition. I
Yeah.
feel like we can bring ideas to the table that both of us can benefit from. I
Yep.
don't have the mentality that there's not enough to go around. I think there's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
I've met, because of Young Living, I've met some people that live like in Arkansas, you know, like all over the US, and now getting to meet you. And I love that. I love the community part of it. I automatic friends, I feel like, and then,
Yep.
you know, people are on board with the whole health thing, which is so cool.
Yes.
And so with the business side,
Mm-hmm.
the money will come, which means, again, we talked about this before. If you haven't seen our Essential Words video, why or why not, you should check that out. It's on my YouTube video, and I don't know where Jenny's going to have hers, but your grocery bill, at the bare minimum, if you don't do anything more than be a star or a senior star, your grocery bill just grew. Because now you're getting a paycheck to take care of all of your personal things that you need, like household cleaners or personal care items. And now at the bare minimum, your grocery bill can actually just buy groceries.
Exactly.
And your products are free from Young Living. So
Yeah.
at the bare minimum, you're a benefit just like that.
Well, and I'll tell you this. So when I first got started, and I actually have, like, you're seeing all these floating papers over here. This is like all of my stats that I keep for myself, because I like to have them like written down in my face and I can check them. I mean, like every paycheck I've made, I write down the total, like all of my just different business stats and stuff, just as constant reminders. to see growth, obviously, for my own business, but also just because I need to remember like where I started and where I am now and stuff. And in the beginning, I remember thinking, okay, I've got to be smart with this. I've got to figure out like, how am I going to use my Young Living paycheck and that kind of thing. And in the beginning it was, I just got to pay for my oils, because before, well, I made a paycheck pretty much my first month. My first one was really small, but I was able to put a part of it towards my ER order, which was awesome because I really thought, oh, I'm going to have to figure out how am I going to budget this into my regular budget. But I really didn't have to do that, because other than the first check, which I said was kind of small, after that, it was always enough to at least get me my minimum order that I needed to get for the month, always. And after that, it was like, well, I guess I don't really have to budget. Well, I mean, I have to budget, but I mean,
Oh, right, right.
I didn't have to take our normal take home pay and budget in a Young Living order. I just took my Young Living check,
Yep.
budgeted into my Young Living order. And then if I had extra, awesome, I can add that to, well, I could put it in a savings account if I wanted, or add it to my groceries, or just whatever else I
Yeah.
wanted to do.
That, a
Exactly.
vacation funds, you name it.
Exactly.
It's endless. You take your check, you get your minimum order in,
Yep.
and then whatever's above and beyond that, that's your choice to do whatever you want. Get that debt freedom, get that
Yep.
vacation, get that savings extra rainy day fund. It's on you. You get to choose
Yep.
that.
Yep.
That's
And it's fun
awesome.
to figure that out. Like, how am I going to use this? Where am I going to put it?
And again, you're putting yourself in a place that I love, options and
Mm-hmm.
choices.
Yep.
Not just like I'm in this situation and I'm stuck. No, you get options
Right.
and choices.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And like win, 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 win. Everyone wins. Everyone
That's
wins
right.
with this opportunity.
That's right. And the other thing too, to keep in mind that, a lot of people know this, but just based on the network marketing business model, which is by and large the absolute best business model on the planet. And when I did my photography business, I also had my own blog and did that for about a year and a half. And I just struggled because you're just alone. You're alone in your business, and you might be able to find a forum of like-minded people, but they'll support you by saying, yeah, go, you're doing great. But they're not like invested in your business. All they can do is provide encouragement, which can help, but you just need something more. And the thing that I love about Young Living is the fact that the person who's above me is my sister. She benefits from all the hard work I do. So she's my biggest cheerleader, and she's willing to help me out in whatever way I might need. And that goes for all the other people above her. The people under me, I get to help them, where what I'm doing can benefit them by, me literally putting stuff into either placing a person under them, or an education, or a resource, or a gift, or whatever. But they benefit me, I can benefit them. And it's just, you're in business. I love it. I don't know who said this, where it came from, but it's, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Oh, that's
And that to me
beautiful.
is huge. And the thing that's also cool, not only that, but like I told you, my mom wants Young Living to be like her retirement plan, her retirement project, basically. And I have been able to help build for my mom, well, with her, but also for her, so that she benefits. And it's like, I'm sort of financially helping without me spending the money to financially help her. Does that make sense?
I am in the same position as you are, except I'm reversed. My mom found out about Young Living before me. So
Oh, okay.
technically, I am her paycheck.
Nice.
And I don't mind that. It's again not coming really out of my pocket. It's just the fact that,
Right.
it was what I needed for what I needed. I needed support with my reproductive system.
Yep.
And my entrepreneurial side that I've always had wanted something to do. And it fulfilled both of those for me. And
Yeah.
by my mom telling me about it, now it's going to help her in the retirement years. Even
Mm-hmm.
if she only gets a couple $100 a month to a couple thousand a month, it's going to help her in the retirement years. Because
Yep.
and she's at that point, like she's looking at, okay, I think I'm ready to retire. She hasn't quite made that leap, but she's
Yeah.
like right there. And so this is a great retirement system. I'm glad you brought that up, Jenny, because this is just a great way that you can just add some more income when your income's totally fixed.
Exactly.
Love that. love it.
And you know, I mean, I don't know if you're going to ask this eventually about like other awesome reasons to do the business. I don't know if you're going to get to this.
Let's do it.
Okay, well, I will be honest, I'm not here yet where I can do this, but I know one of the things, I had no idea this was even an option. But once you get to a certain, I'm sure it's an amount, like a paycheck amount, you can actually will your paycheck to your family, which
Once
I
you hit
think,
silver.
yes, okay, okay. So I was like, you know, I didn't know if it was an amount or a rank or whatever it was, but I was like, this I'm so excited for, because if anything were to happen to me, my business isn't just going to disappear and go away. All the hard work that I've done, I can actually pass that on to my kids, and they can inherit that, and they could keep going with my business if they want to. And
That's
if they
so cool.
don't, they'll just keep, you know, a check will just keep coming to them. I hope that they'll keep growing it, because I think that would be super smart. But that's the thing that is so awesome. I don't know if that is industry wide or if it's just a Young Living thing.
Yeah, I don't know either. This is the first I've ever heard of that.
Me too. Me too. So I think that that's pretty awesome and exciting. So I think that that's one thing to think about as well, especially if a person, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm this many years old, I shouldn't start doing something now. But we have people in Young Living who are 70s and 80s who are diamonds on up, building businesses that started in their like silver years, if you want to put it that way, silver haired years, not silver rank years, you know what I mean? Anyway, you know, and it's like, so you're never too old to start at all. And, you know, especially when you're retired, you have the time to put into doing it. And it's just, it's one of those things, and you said this way earlier, but it's like, it's such a win-win, because when I know I'm sharing a business opportunity with somebody, or even just about the oils, they're going to benefit, you know, for their health and the health of their kids, but they could benefit financially as well. And not only they will benefit, I benefit, my sister who's above me benefits. You know, it's like so many people benefit in so many ways. And my sister, who isn't necessarily building a business, does get a paycheck, which pays for her ER orders. So she's able to pay that without having to budget her regular take-home pay into getting her oils or her oil-infused products. So it's just, there's so many wins in it that it's almost like, I always tell people that, you know, I'll share about the business 24 hours a day. I love it. It excites me, and I think it's amazing. But just give it like 6 months and just see how you feel. And from there, like, I think it'll change your perspective once you really give it a try. 6 months, and at the very least, you'll probably have your ER order paid for. And that would be worth it right there.
Exactly. At least. At
Yeah.
least. And then with the bonuses that they've just redone, you could be seeing some good money,
Yes.
hitting
Yes.
star, getting some good money there, senior star, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
There's some good bonus money to be grabbing right now. So
Exactly.
and when we're filming this, they're promoting this trip, a free trip to Bora Bora. Now, before they've done Hawaii and they've done different trips. So I think it just depends on the year. But there's free trips that you can win. And then when you hit rank, they also send you to different farms and stuff like that for free. And
Right.
some of them are not even in this country. And so you could go visit another country for free once you hit certain ranks. So there's free travel opportunity. There's free money. Well, you work for it, but essentially,
Yeah.
like, there's money. And then
Yeah.
potentially there's free money for downline when you have to place them somewhere. And so maybe they'll catch the vision, or at least you're giving your friend who loved you enough to say, hey, I believe in this health journey you're on. Let me join
Exactly.
you. You're getting them free orders. You're getting free orders. You're getting a paycheck. You're getting some tax benefits. I just don't see why anyone wouldn't want to be a part of this.
Right. Yeah. And I will say, I know that this could be another thing you wanted to talk about, but I think the biggest holdup for people is that they don't like either making money off of their friends and family. People feel really icky about that, or they just don't want to feel salesy to begin with. And, you know, I've thought so long and hard about this, because I've never felt bad making money off my friends and family. And the reason I haven't, I think, is because I've always wanted to be in business. And I've always felt like if I provide a service or a product, that I should be paid for it. So, you know, and if I was like back when I took photos, of course I would want to take photos of my friends and family, but I also, that was my job. And so I would need to get paid for that. And they would understand that. So why would anybody now think that they would need to get an oil from me, but not pay for it? You know what I'm saying? So I always just think, well, if you want to be in business, you kind of have to just switch your mind and decide, I don't feel bad about making money off my friends and family. Now, if you are price gouging or trying, you know, being unethical or whatever, that's different, but that's a heart issue for that person. But if you're just trying to, you know, help people and provide either a service or a product, you shouldn't feel bad about that at all, ever.
And if your friend, like, here's my mentality on that. I rather support my friend than a
Yes.
stranger I don't know. So if
Yes.
I know there's a friend in business that has the product or the service that I need, that's
Yes.
what I'm going to first. I'd rather put food on their table than someone I don't know.
Exactly.
That's
And
how my mind works.
you're absolutely right. And I think a misconception that somebody has, where I might have a friend that doesn't want to buy from me because they think that they're supporting this big this big company. And I always have to, you have to educate people and say, actually, the network marketing model supports us little people the most, because especially in Young Living, I think is different, because obviously a percentage of every sale goes towards, you know, all of us who are working the business as part of like our paycheck. But then they have this percentage of each of their oils that goes to their foundational administrative fees, which means that if you give money to the Young Living Foundation, your donation goes 100% to the projects. It doesn't go to administrative fees because we've already paid that by buying oils, which is amazing and so smart of them to set it up that way. And of course, Young Living is also a business, so they also have a percentage that goes to them as well to keep the business running. So when someone is afraid, like, well, I don't want to buy oils from you because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to cushion the pockets of the big CEO or whatever. At least with Young Living, that is not how it works. And our CEO, our late CEO, Gary Young, even said, I make all of my oils or products, I think maybe he said, for a purpose, not a profit. And that speaks volumes where his heart was. He was not, he was trying to like help the world as opposed to help his pocketbook, you know, always. And the guy would have probably been fine to be poor forever if it meant he was changing lives and helping people be well. But I think, I honestly believe that the blessings just poured on him because of where his heart was. And it was not self, it was serve, serve, serve. And so that's another reason why Young Living is so the place to be, because some people maybe shop around for, well, I love network marketing, I just need to find a company that works for me. Look at the heart of the company, and you will, I mean, especially like, I can't speak for all of them, I can only speak for Young Living, but you can see the heart in who Gary Young was, and who, you know, what his wife still continues, and Jared Turner, who has, you know, replaced him. And it's just, we are so fortunate to have a company like Young Living, and it's pretty awesome. I could go on and on, but I'm
a believer, and I know not everybody in Young Living is a believer, but I am. One thing I appreciate about Young Living is they don't shut you down if you choose to pray at your meeting. Yes. I love that. For one, we have an amendment that gives us the right to religion. And so I appreciate that that company supports that. Again, not everyone has a faith that prays, but if you did, they don't shut you down. And I like that. I respect that about them, because they're respecting just my personal freedoms. And I think that's so cool.
Yes.
But also the heart center in the whole thing is about everybody winning. And that's a big draw to me. I like that everybody wins, and I like that it's a healthy thing and you're helping somebody. Exactly. And you go back to your question about not wanting to sound salesy to your friends, because I certainly don't either. But when you're talking to your friend and then they're saying, I have this and this is going on and that's going on. Prior to Young Living, I had nothing in my tool bag that I could offer them to help with their problem. Now with Young Living, besides prayer, now with Young Living, I have prayer and I have this thing of like, hey, I heard you're having some sleep issues. Here's some lavender, here's some sleep essence. If you're interested, let me know. If not, no big deal.
Right.
It doesn't have to be this big pressure. But at least now you could say, hey, I have this thing. If it solves your problem, that'd be great. And more people are open to that than and if you come up with that perspective and that way of, you're not being sales, you're just saying, hey, this is the need you told me about.
Right.
This is what I can offer you. Do you like it? Do you want it? If so, great. If not, okay, cool. We can still be friends. It doesn't have to end the friendship because you said no.
Exactly. Absolutely. And if you had the cure for cancer, you would never keep that to yourself, right? You never would. But in order to create, I don't know, more cures, you would need to have the funds in order to create more. And therefore you'd need to maybe sell the cure. So yes, when it comes to Young Living, we might have a solution for someone's health need or some way to support their body, but we're still doing a business. It is possible to help people while doing business. That is possible. Just like it's possible for a contractor to build your. Yes, exactly. And it's like, we should never feel bad for my husband to adjust somebody who is in pain because we charge them for that. That's the service he provides. And, you can go have your weird Uncle Jeff step on your back and crack it and you injure yourself, but it's free because Uncle Jeff did it for you. You decide, do you want it to be the right way to do it and the safe way and the one you pay for, or Uncle Jeff's version? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we should never feel bad, but it is hard because we don't want to be pushy. We don't want to scare people away. But I have found one of the things is in the last 3 years of doing business, I have changed. I started out very fearful of being salesy, of pushing people away. But I realized, I started realizing, you know what? I have something that will legit help people. Why do I feel bad to just say to somebody, I have something that will help you. And if you want it, talk to me, No, I don't ever push people and pressure them. If they feel that way, that's because it's their perspective. It's not because of what I'm doing, But I do think there are people out there that might legit just want handouts. And there's always going to be people like that. But for the most part, especially people who we are close to, aren't just going to expect handouts all the time, So that's one thing. And again, it's a mindset thing. We just have to change how we think about, if I'm helping somebody, I'm not going to feel bad for helping them. I will never feel bad about that. And even though I did at one time, I don't now.
That's awesome. Well, Jenny, it was so fun to talk to you. I appreciate you. I love your perspective on the Young Living opportunity, the whys you went into it. I think it's just a good, just the way we explain it, it just made a lot of sense. I think a lot of people's questions might be answered by this video, like why and how and all that stuff.
I hope so.
So just thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I love your input. I think you're so cool. And I love that you and your husband can marry the two together. That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Amber. This has been a lot of fun.